I'm legally insane. And today you're watching episode 2 of my brand new PS3 Prices Are Going Up series. On this series, we discuss PS3 games that are currently rising in price or will rise in price in the future. And I tell you why that will happen. For this particular series, I would not be focusing on the economic factors that are increasing the price of your rare games and your hidden gems. We're not going into M2 money supply and other factors like that. We're sticking with the basics of the game. What makes that game rare? What makes it unique? What makes it a hidden gem? Why might you, the consumer, the collector, be interested in that game? I've done this series with the Xbox 360 already, where I did a 69
69.
Xbox 360 game prices are going up series, still going on with the bonus episodes, and I'm currently doing a 100 Nintendo Wii game prices series as we speak, where all of them Wii game prices, all 100, they're all going up, buddy. Every single one. I've not forgotten about the Wii, but today it's all about the PS3. I got the Sony Pony PlayStation fanboy hat on today. And in this particular series, we will be focusing on PS3 exclusives rather than PS3 games that are also on the Xbox 360. And we're doing that for reasons because I've already talked about those games before. So we're focusing on exclusives for this entire series. So if you want the rarest PS3 games ever made, you want the hidden gems, you've come to the right place. Last warning, you might want to put an adult-sized diaper on. I ain't playing around. I'm about to show you an absolute ball blower. It's 2 a.m. as I film this. I gotta go work in the morning. And instead of going to bed so that I can go work in the morning, pay my rent, I'm talking about one of the rarest games on the entire PS3. That's what I'm talking about. I'm here to show it to you because this is more important than working. We're talking Rambo the video game. Rambo the video game. And I already know what you're thinking. If you even know about this game, and I have a feeling you don't know about this game. As a matter of fact, I know you don't know about this game because what you think you know about this game, you are wrong. My copy is CIB. No manual with this one. CIB is no manual. You know how I know there's no manual? Because I bought my copy brand new when it was cheap. I've been telling you guys for years now. I've been screaming from the rooftops, get your rare games for cheap. Don't wait for the prices to go up. I bought all my cheap. I bought this back in like 2015, maybe even 2016, but it was basically being liquidated on eBay. Probably on Amazon too, but I bought mine off of eBay, brand new. It was like cheaper than a used one back then. Rambo the video game is a North American exclusive game to the PS3. In PAL regions, yeah, it's on the 360, but that's locked to the PAL regions, buddy. We're talking North America here. This is the only way you will be able to play this game is on your PS3. Rambo is hands down, no questions asked, one of the rarest games ever made on the console. Not only is it one of the rarest, but I think it's one of the biggest sleeper rare games ain't nobody know about. Now that's changing. We'll get into that. That's rapidly changing. But ain't nobody know. But I knew it was rare way back in 2015. And I knew that just based on the fact that I never saw it in stores. I never even knew it existed. And I know a lot of other people didn't either. And I knew it was rare just seeing it on eBay, although there was a lot of sealed copies back then saturating the market. We'll get into that as well. So Rambo is actually an arcade-style two-player co-op. Memorize that. Two-player co-ops. Rail shooter released back in 2014. The core mechanic of the game, aside from being a rail shooter, there's a little bit more depth to it. It breaks up or attempts to break up the monotonous gameplay by including stealth sections with things like quick time events. and advanced cover shooter system as well. So it's a cover shooter, not just a rail shooter, but there's cover shooter aspects to it, where the AI will actually run up to you if you're just hiding behind a rock. You can't just cover and do nothing. They'll come up to you and shoot you right from behind the rock. So the AI is pretty dumb for the most part, but they're smart at least when it comes to the cover shooting mechanics. And there's also a bullet time slowdown skill called Wrath. Wrath is a Matrix style bullet time slowdown ability. And you can also gain health when you use that ability. So there's some strategy to when you want to use it, how much of it you want to save up. There's also my personal favorite being RPG elements, shocking for a rail shooter. Nothing overly advanced, but it comes in the form of leveling up and unlocking new perks that you can equip. You can have up to 3 perks, allows you to customize your character a little bit, and encourages you to have multiple playthroughs to unlock all of the perks and play with different specializing in different things. So, random examples of some perks, there are survivability perks such as faster health regen, combat perks such as carrying more ammo or increased accuracy. But hold on a minute, okay? I know what you're thinking. Whoa, whoa, those RPG elements? Two-player co-op? Rail shooter? Cover shooter mechanics? Rambo? I love Rambo. I'm gonna buy this game right now. That's what you're thinking. You got your finger on the button. Right now, you got your finger on the button. You're about to purchase it on eBay right now. But hold on a minute. Calm your tits for 10 seconds. Keep in mind, I just want you to be aware that the game did get absolutely abysmal reviews. I've never seen reviews this bad in my entire life. But the real question is, were the reviews justified? Were the bad reviews justified? I'm going to get into that. First, let's have a look at the chart. This game currently price charts for 50 US dollars, which is 69.11 Canadian. This chart here is in USD for those that are new. My brain understands Canadian dollars, so I will focus on that. Now, what I want you to focus on, more importantly, is although price charting says you can get the game for, say, 50 US dollars, plenty of sold listings within that range. $50, $50. This 1099 one, by the way, this guy, I have a feeling that was just a complete retard that sold that, and or the shipping cost was $50. Okay, because most of these listings here don't include the shipping cost. $60, $50, $60 all day. $60, $60, $60, $60. $59.99 all day. But what I'm here to tell you now is that this game is getting harder to find. No sales since a month ago. We've gone 30 days straight, no sales. Well, as I'm browsing down here, never before have we gone 30 days, no sales. We've been getting plenty of sales because guess what? Inventory's been drying up. There used to be more sealed copies than there were used open copies. I showed you a game last time called Magus, and I told you, once those sealed copies dry up, it's rare just like Rambo. Once those sealed copies get bought out, the game is going to the moon price-wise, and that's exactly what happened. I think that's what we're seeing starting to happen with Rambo. The supply has dried up. Try to get a copy for $50. If you can get one, I mean, by all means, pull the trigger if you're interested in this type of game. It ain't getting any cheaper. You ain't going to get it for 2019 level prices down here, buddy. 2016. Oh, frig, look, this is what I paid. I'm not even showing up on here. I'm pretty sure I bought mine in like 2016, not 2018. I don't know why this chart doesn't go further than that. Well, regardless, you can see what I paid. I probably paid about this much. $15 USD. Because I remember my brain says I paid 25 Canadian brand new shipped to my door. That's what my brain says. I'm on eBay.com right now as if I were an American seller. These are PAL versions. Sure, you can get the PAL version if you want, I mean, look at this. Plenty of sealed copies available right here. 76 copies sold. What did I tell you? There's more sealed copies on the market than there were new copies, except all of the North American sealed copies have dried up. First cheapest game. One copy available. Let's double check. One copy, you're looking at 60 plus $20 shipping, roughly. So 80 US dollars. And then we're right back to PAL versions. And then the next cheapest, $110. These prices are going up significantly. That doesn't mean more copies won't come on the market. There's patient people waiting out there, waiting for new copies to newer and cheaper copies. You don't always need to dive in. But what I'm telling you is I think a shift has already started. This is US dollars. This isn't even Canadian dollars, buddy. US dollars. 125 is the next cheapest after that. There's more supply on the market around that level. Oh, here's a decently priced one. $80. Not bad. Shipping not specified. And then back to PAL versions. So here's another thing I want you to think about. Are you aware that this game was delisted? The PC version was delisted in 2017. You're thinking, I'll just get the PC version, much cheaper. I'll play with the mouse, I don't care. Not going to use the Moves controller, which, by the way, the Moves controller is the best way to play the game. You should be using the motion controls, just like playing a Nintendo Wii railgun shooter. That is the best way to play. But if you do play with the controller, it's not that bad. That's how I played the game. It sucks, but there is like a little bit of an auto-aiming mechanic to help you hone in on the enemies. It helps a lot. And I also played on easy mode. So, I mean, that's me. I didn't mind it, but the game excels with motion controls. It's two-player co-op. Get you and your buddy, two controllers. You're going to have a good time. But the game was delisted. It ain't coming back. The developers, they didn't want to renew the license because, like I said, the game got bashed to hell and back, and it did not sell well at all. Probably one of the worst selling games on the console, and for good reason. At least back then. They thought it was for good reason. I'm here to contend against that, but I'm here to counter that. But there were bad reviews. In fact, let's get into some of those reviews. Have a quick look at some of these reviews here. We got Destructoid. 1 out of 10. This is PC version, but it really doesn't make a difference. 5 out of 10 from Edge Gamer. 5 out of 10 from Eurogamer, which are pretty high scores.
What did he say?
Reviews also criticized the game for its frequent crashing/freezing, poor enemy AI, and very short length, which, by the way, it's about 3 to 4 hours for the campaign. And this is an arcade-style game. If you think a rail shooter should be longer than that, I think you're legally insane. I want to show you a few more reviews. 34 on Metacritic, very bad. That's based on 22 critic reviews. And this is one of those rare scenarios where the users, the real gamers, have actually given this game a lower score than the critics. Usually the critics get it wrong and then the gamers get it right. Which, by the way, now might be a good time to show you that the developer of Rambo was known for making shovelware. So if you thought they were going to make a 10 out of 10 game, you're wrong. Although they're still around to this day, buddy. They're actually making good games to this day. But prior to Rambo, I mean, look at all these games. Pure shovelware. Every single game, shovelware. Which explains why Rambo was so poorly received. 2008, 09, 2010, 2011, straight shovelware. Heavy Fire Afghanistan and Black Arms, those are both shovelware rail shooters. So they had experience with rail shooters, which now explains why they chose to make Rambo a rail shooter. They paid for the license for Rambo, the video game. They hyped this thing up to the moon. But unfortunately, yeah, just the fact that it was a rail shooter turned the market off. Let's have a quick look at the Real Gamer reviews. We're looking at 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. I think this is a troll review, but you can see these are newer reviews. This is March 2025. So people are still buying and playing and reviewing this game today, which is the reviews that I want to see. This is definitely a troll. 29 billion Rambo dollars. This game saved my life in so many ways. The ragdolls are perfect in every way. I think he's talking to the ragdoll physics. 6 out of 10. Okay, hey, that's a fair review. PC game review. 0, April 1st, 2023. Whoever made this needs to be slapped. Probably never watched a Rambo movie. No, I don't even think this guy played the game. They definitely watched a Rambo movie because the game follows the movie and it does a pretty good job. This game, 1 out of 10. This game can only be a joke. It's not possible. Everything is broken from graphics to physics and gameplay. I don't know if this 10 is a troll or not. 0, and then we're down into the 0 out of 10 and 0 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 0 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 out of 10, and then a possible troll 10 out of 10. So you get the idea. You get the idea. These reviews ain't good. Here's further proof that this game got bashed to hell and back. Angry Joe, the Angry Joe Show, very popular YouTuber, over 3 million subscribers. 11 years ago, he made a review, 6.2 million views. The review is very famous, and it basically bashes Rambo as one of the worst games ever made. Here's one from Triple Jump, 300,000 subscribers, 89,000 views, 6 years ago. Worst games ever, Rambo the video game. Here's another one from a YouTuber with almost 200,000 subscribers, 210,000 views. Games I hate, Rambo the video game. Worst games of 2014. So you might be thinking, well, why would this game go up in price? You're showing me all these reviews. Well, I'm telling you right now, it's going to $500. Now, right now, it's price charting for $50 US. But I'm telling you, you're going to wake up real soon, and that price charting is going to be updated to $100 US. And then, not too long after that, you're going to wake up one day, and you're going to see price charting at $200 US. We're not even talking Canadian dollars. And then, many years later, you're going to wake up again, and you're going to see it at $300 US. Because here's what's happening as well. This, not only is this rare, it's not just about it being rare, it's about the fact that it got unjustly bashed. And I think the market is slowly shifting. Now, they're not saying it's a 10 out of 10 AAA title game here. They're just saying that there's some enjoyment to be had here. Smaller YouTuber, he made a good review on it 3 years ago. Do you see a trend here? Some of the positive reviews, the reviews that are becoming positive and the positive commenters are generally more modern gamers talking about this game. I think it's going to become a cult classic, the same as Magus, and the same as many other rare games, not only on the PS3, but other consoles as well. This game is getting cult classic status, and Rambo fans want to own this game, myself included. Huge Rambo fan. Let's go through a few more funny negative comments. This user says, I can't play it for more than 10 minutes. It just sucks balls. He says this 4 years ago. This is modern. So it's not like everyone modern is saying it's good. There's still people that hate it. Rambo 3 on the Master System runs smoother than this. This was a funny one. You know it's going to be a masterpiece when it has the video game in the title. 8 years ago. Rambo developers obviously paid Angry Joe to rate this game as high as 2 out of 10. Should have given it a 0 like everyone on Metacritic. This game has provided more entertainment value than it ever intended. Entertainment from watching its reviews, not the actual bloody game. And that was from 9 years ago. But you are sadly mistaken if you think everyone thinks like that. Here's a review from 1 year ago, 2024. And it's positive. This isn't really a bad game at all. Why make a stealthy Splinter Cell or MGS style game when many others have already done that to death? The game pays homage to the movies, which it does. I've played the game, buddy. I know. I can verify what he's saying. And video games that were big, so it pays homage to the movies and video games that were big at the time. On rail shooting gallery playstyle games are few and far between. If you don't like that sort of game, then of course you're gonna detest this game. And and by the way, a lot of these reviewers, they all bashed it because it was an on-rail shooter. Not understanding, well, just because you don't like on-rail shooter doesn't mean it's a bad on-rail shooter. It just happens to be in a genre that you don't enjoy. It is admittedly very rough around the edges, but it is also completely over the top, bombastic, and ultra violent. All the things that 80s kids loved in movies and video games. Ticky Tack Fowl says it's not a bad rail shooter, honestly. You'll like it more if you grew up in the 90s. Way, way too expensive though. So, what if they had lowered the price and sold it in the discount bin right from day one? Would people have complained the way that they did? Imagine if it was 1999 day one, US dollars. Just imagine, 30 bucks Canadian. So glad I bought all that is required for 2 players when the stuff was cheap. I think he's talking about the Move controllers, the motion controllers. Arcade shooter done well. Game didn't deserve all the hate it got. Elijah Lawson then responds, the problem was because it looked like an FPS. When watching it on YouTube, people compared it to Call of Duty. Something Call of Duty fanboys do when an FPS that isn't called Call of Duty gets released. But the devs said it was an arcade style rail shooter and no one paid attention to that. I can verify that. Now, I'll say the graphics aren't the greatest, and I think it's stupid that they didn't use original audio. As far as bad graphics go, that's all you need now for people to say a game is I didn't capture the rest, but basically for all people to say is a game is bad. And the biggest bashing points to this game is the graphics suck and it's an all-rail shooter. I don't like it. Mr. Rocky 74 says this game is 200% better with the PlayStation Move sharpshooter peripherals. It's like having Rambo the arcade game in your basement without paying $10,000. And this is from 1 year ago, 2024. Take note of that. Write that down on paper right now. You're going to thank me later. It's even better than the arcade version because it's more graphic and less arcade. The QuickTime events act as a nice break for your arm since you can do these with the sharpshooter rested on your side. Anyway, I know I am correct because the price of the PS3 version of the game is not easy or cheap to get anymore. And I can also almost guarantee that if you're an OG gamer from the 80s or 90s, you're going to have a good time because you grew up with these types of games in the arcade, you know what to expect. And I think that this is going to continue to grow in popularity. Its cult classic status will grow every month, every year that passes. More and more people are becoming aware of this game. They want to buy it, and they're saying, screw you to the bad reviews. And people are starting to recognize it's just not as bad as they said it was. That's a common thing that happens with these games. And the market agrees with me because the price is going up and it's getting harder to get your hands on a copy. I'm gonna try to fly through the rest of these a little bit quicker, spend a little bit too much time on Rambo. Number 5 is now Monster Madness Grave Danger for the PS3. And I already know what you're thinking, buddy. I read your mind. You're thinking right now, that is not an exclusive. I have that on the Xbox 360, you absolute retard. That's what you're saying right now. Yeah, well, turns out you're the retard. Yeah, because this is the definitive version. This is not the same as the 360 version. Okay? This is not the same game. This is Monster Madness Grave Danger. The 360 version is called Battle for Suburbia, and the PS3 version happens to be 10 times better, significantly improved. It's the definitive version for a reason because they made updates. They changed the game for the better. They fixed all of the flaws in the 360 version. So, what is Monster Madness? It is a 4-player co op 3D top down view, hack and slash or beat 'em up, slash twin stick shooter. And it was released in 2008. Well, the inferior Xbox 360 version was released in '07, so it gave them time to understand that, oh crap, the market is bashing our game. We need to go fix it because it can be salvaged. The game itself can be summarized as a spiritual successor to Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And the developers make that very obvious. It was very much heavily inspired by that game. And they don't hide they don't hide that. You'll know within the first 10 minutes. They don't hide it. The game also has RPG elements, and I love my RPG elements in the form of upgrading your character and upgrading your weapons. It's meant to be a casual, light-hearted, little bit funny, fun game that you play with your friends. You don't take a game like this serious. You're not in this for the story, buddy. You're in this to play the campaign, the story mode, with a friend or two or three. Currently price charts for 15.29 USD or 21.13 Canadian. Sold listings in more recent times hitting upwards of that 30 Canadian dollar level, but prior to that, $20 all day. 20 bucks, 25 sells fairly commonly. Oh my gosh. A lot of sales in July. Although I think July is a popular month. My eBay sales usually do go up in July for whatever reason. I guess kids home from school or people taking vacation, they're at home doing a staycation. They purchase some games on eBay. A lot of sales in July. So this game does sell. It's not overly rare or anything. It's not a Rambo. It's not a Magus. Certainly not common either though, because I don't see this one pop up very often. So I don't think they sold 1 million copies. I don't think so, buddy. Especially considering the poor reviews the 360 version got, which screwed over the PS3 version. Chart was stagnant for a while, had started to go up a little bit during the COVID move. Peaked out in 2022, went back into a trading range, and it appears to have broken out to all new all-time highs today. March 2025 hit an all-time high, but here's what's more important. You see, back in 2022, and 2023, this $15 level was resistance. It tried to break through that 3 times. Each time it failed and dropped back down. So the market has attempted to break through that 3 times. That is a resistance line. Very clear resistance at $15 USD. And for the first time in history, it broke through that level. And now what we're seeing with this line here is that what was previously resistance is now showing as support. So we might have a new support line here at roughly $15, whereas previously the support was roughly around $11, $12. This would have been a pretty decent support line down here. $11 round down. Between 11 and $12 was a lot of support, meaning ain't nobody going to sell it to you for cheaper than that. Good price to buy. If you think you're going to get it for $709 January 2018 prices, back then you're a retard. And you deserve the price you pay for this game is the price you deserve. Just like Bitcoin. You ever heard that quote? The price you pay for Bitcoin is the price you deserve. You paid $1 for Bitcoin, you deserve to pay $1. for Bitcoin. You paid $50,000 for Bitcoin and you didn't sell it like a chump, then you deserve to pay 50,000. Good for you. You wanna sell it at 100,000? Be my guest. I mean, you do you, buddy. Well, the price you pay for this game is the price you deserve because it's going to 50 Canadian dollars. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm here to tell you. And part of that reason is because ain't nobody gonna want the 360 version anymore. Now that's a mistake that I made because I thought people would still go after the 360 version, and I've since changed my mind. Although, mind you, I could be wrong. The price has been doing well for the 360 version as well. Not everybody collects for both consoles, but when word spreads that Monster Madness is the updated version, they're gonna wanna get the PS3 version, and they're not gonna want the 360 version anymore. So what makes the PS3 version um so what did they change in the PS3 version? Why is it the definitive version? Well, they made a lot of positive changes, significant changes. Number 1, they improved the camera system. Okay, that was a big complaint in the first one. They also reworked and significantly improved the control scheme. That was probably the number 1 complaint. The number 1 problem with the 360 version, preventing it from becoming a top seller. Platinum hits, top seller, buddy. I'm telling you right now, it would have been a PS3 greatest hits, platinum hits 360. It just had enough flaws to ruin the experience. So they fixed that. They added new content, 25 new challenges in the challenge mode. They added 4-player online co-op for the adventure mode. I don't know if you can still play that today on the PS3 servers. I have no idea. If you can, I mean, be my guest, but back then when everybody did, that would have been a nice feature. 100 new character-specific purchasable accessories, cosmetic stuff, new unlockable character costumes, but they also improved some additional gameplay updates, such as placing weapons in set locations instead of having them randomly generated locations. And one of the more important gameplay tweaks was improved vehicle controls. The game itself, it's a great game. I think it's underrated. To this day, it is a hidden gem. To this day. But again, to this day, people are waking up to the fact that it's not as bad as the review said and that it's actually good, and they break up the monotonous gameplay if you don't like the fact that it's a little bit repetitive. Well, they help do that by adding in platforming sections, mini game sections, plenty of different vehicles that you'll find, cars, mechs, multiple vehicles throughout the level. They're breaking up the monotonous gameplay. That's one of the biggest problems with beat 'em up style games. So you have to do something like that. Reviews at the time of release were about a 5 out of 10, but I wonder if they were basing that review off the 360 version. Critic PlayStation reviews were not nearly as bad as the 360 version, averaging a score of 55, but as you can see, a lot of, decent fair reviews. I mean, this is an average game. It's not some 10 out of 10 game. It's just average. You'll have a good time with it and it's fun. Play with a buddy. A lot of 70s, 60. I mean, it's even 60s aren't that bad. 6 out of 10 ain't that bad. Anything below 60 out of 100 or 6 out of 10, I do not agree with at all. Not too many reviews on GameFAQ from real gamers, but one guy here, Big O Figgy, from 2021, a nice modern take and a nice modern review, gave this game a 9 out of 10. It's one of his favorite games. This is a big old giant review, buddy. This is a whole essay. All in all, Monster Madness Grave Danger is a fun time. The controls and gameplay were given a much needed coat of polish from the 360 original and plays great. The game doesn't fetch high prices nowadays, but jump on it quickly because PS3 games are starting to get pricey. This guy said it better than I could. That's what I'm trying to tell you right now. Great way to end this portion. Great way to segue into the next game because This game is going higher in price, and guess what? I know most of you people, you're not gonna pick it up. You're gonna sit on it for years and years, and then 5 years from today, you're gonna blow your balls off when you see the price it's at, and it could be $50 for all we know. This is one Metal Jesus shout out, 1,000,000 plus subscriber shout out, some guy playing it on stream. One event away from doubling or tripling in price. Will it be $500? No, but it doesn't need to be. All you gotta do is ask yourself, would you rather pay 21 Canadian dollars today? Hell, maybe even round up, say 30. Good condition copy, 30 bucks, great deal. Would you rather pay that today? Or would you rather pay double that tomorrow or 1 year from now or 2 years from now? If you wanna pay double, by all means, go for it. I'm just letting you know those are your options. Game number 6 is Alone in the Dark, a survival horror PS3 exclusive. You ain't gonna find this on your Xbox 360, buddy. You ain't gonna find it on your Nintendo Wii. You ain't gonna find it nowhere else. And I already know what you're thinking. I already know, buddy. You're thinking, well, wait a minute. Am I living in the Twilight Zone? You must be insane. Because I own that game and I beat it on the Xbox 360. Well, guess what? You need to get your eyes checked. You just may be blind and or retarded. Or both. Or both. You're not the first. You're not the first to be both, buddy. A lot of my viewers are both. You're subscribed to this channel. Chances are high you're both. It's just the way it is. Look closer. That says Alone in the Dark Inferno. That don't say Alone in the Dark. You missed the Inferno part because you have an IQ under 69. See, I have an IQ of 69. So I think I know a thing or two. This version is the director's cut version, the definitive version of Alone in the Dark, the significantly improved version. Alone in the Dark Inferno is the definitive version. They did the exact same thing again. They recognized, oh crap, we ruined the game. And instead, they didn't just release patches back then to fix the games and add content. They would just release a whole new game. If it came down to that, if the sales were so poor and they knew they had a hit. They knew they just had to make some adjustments and they could turn this situation around and salvage the game. That's what they did here. Now the chart hasn't done that much. But there's still a clear uptrend. We had a parabolic move. I don't know what caused that. Maybe it was a YouTuber, probably was. 2021, that was not a COVID move, buddy. The COVID move was way down here, this tiny little dip. It's a small dip, but it's still a 50% increase. It went from about $9 to $8 to 15 basically. Parabolic move, came back down, corrected. I've never seen a parabolic move that didn't correct. But as you can see, it didn't correct it back down to that $15 high. Corrected all the way back down to $20, and now $20 is a support level. Had a lot of support there. It's mostly been in a trading range up and down since then. It's right back down to that support level, $20. This is US dollars. Price charts for $28.94 Canadian, $20.94 USD. Recent sold listing, $24. Not bad. Probably free shipping. $27.95 USD down here. $18, $15, $16.99. A lot of 20s and a lot of under 20s, but a lot of these under 20s, this might not be CIB. This one doesn't say. So very slow uptrend when you look at the long term. Stuck in trading range at the moment. I would expect They typically move in waves, right? You gotta remember that. There's a lot of new people. They don't understand that these games typically move in phases or waves. This would be a wave 1 move. Even a common game like Alone in the Dark Inferno. This is not a rare game, by the way. Alone in the Dark, on all systems combined, sold over 1,000,000 copies. But not all systems are the same game. The PS2 version and the Wii version are the worst. They're not quite the same. So this version should only be compared with the 360 version, but because the 360 version was so poorly reviewed, it affected the sales of this updated version. This type of game is in a good collectible genre, survival horror. It mainly plays in third person, but it also commonly switches to first person view for combat. But the game is more than just a survival horror. It also includes everything from puzzles to platforming to driving sections, which are surprisingly fun. So there's a lot of variety here. But unfortunately, the game just never lived up to expectations. You can blame the 360 version, though. I'm telling you right now, the 360 version is, and also the Wii and the PS2 is the reason the sales were so poor. So knowing that the 360 version was flawed, the PS3 version fixed those flaws and added new content. What they added was a better camera system, which was the biggest flaw on the 360 version. They added a new lock-on system, smoother movement. Weapons now have strength differentiation, so bigger weapons do more damage. The battery pack was removed for more inventory space, so little things can go a long way. Easier item combination, that was probably one of the biggest ones, actually, and easier inventory use. More on-screen tips for guidance. Improved car handling with better suspension and reduced drift. And a brand new exclusive level added into episode 6. They did not go stingy on the updates. Here are the reviews on GameFAQ by the players, but although it has an option for PS3, there are no reviews for whatever reason. I think it's broken. I can't imagine that nobody reviewed it, but we can see that even the 360 reviews were actually very positive. However, I do think that some of those are for the PS3 version. Just a theory of mine. Even knowing that, though, I just want to show you the variety in the score. So even on that terrible 360 version, some people were giving it very high scores, 9 out of 10, or even a 10 out of 10. Others, sure, yeah, 1 out of 10. Broken and barely playable mess. 2013 from 2013 is relatively newer. Again, a 3 out of 10, 2013 review. Game Critics says it's impossible to know for sure, but I can only imagine that if the initial version had been as finely honed as Inferno, it would have received a much warmer welcome. Instead, thanks to all the negative word of mouth generated by the inferior 360 version, Inferno came and went with hardly anyone blinking an eye. That sums up everything. That's what I've been trying to tell you this entire time. And that's what I'm telling you right now. The market is going to wake up to it. If Silent Hill can sell for the prices, those PS2 versions, PS1 versions, how freaking price of every Silent Hill version there is, can sell for those prices today with the amount of copies that they sold. Alone in the Dark Inferno is underrated today. And yes, I did see some reviews earlier where some of the people even compared this game to some of the Silent Hill games and the series in general. This is underrated, and I'm telling you right now, if you like survival horrors, you will want to try this game. Here's a review from Darkness of Myth from 2008 titled Alone in the Dark is a unique gem that delivers what other games don't. He scored it a 10 out of 10. Gameplay, 10 out of 10. Graphics, 9 out of 10. Sound, 10 out of 10. Story, 9 out of 10. Freshness, 10 out of 10. Value was only an 8 out of 10. Not sure why. Overall, 9.6 out of 10. Round that up, that's a 10 out of 10 on GameFAQ. But he has got the best quote of them all. He says it's basically the darkness mixed with the best of Silent Hill. 2008 review. This guy appears to have written an entire essay, and ChatGPT did not write this one, buddy. This is a passionate gamer, and he's telling you that this is right up there with the best of the best. It's right up there with Silent Hill. Sums it off by saying Alone in the Dark is a unique gem that delivers what others don't, and probably never will for years to come. Trust me, you can't miss a game that allows you to flame enemies, steal cars, and make items in your own ways. This is a cheap game, by the way. Did I mention that? Because I think I forgot to mention that. This 30 Canadian dollars can get you this game right now. If you don't think that this game is worth paying that for you to enjoy and play, throw this on your shelf, a unique gem, a PS3 exclusive, and it's at rock bottom prices. And yeah, sure, you know what? Maybe it doesn't even go up in value. Well, you're still getting your money's worth, and it's still dirt cheap. John Bunday's mother charges more than this, and that lady is cheap. Back of the 7-Eleven, right behind the dumpster, every Friday night. She doesn't even charge $30. You could wake up one day and this game could be double or triple the price. You just never know. I mean, it's already had one parabolic move. You don't think it can have another parabolic move? And then perhaps another one after that? Do you not think under the right circumstances, this game could begin a phase 2 move? You don't think a phase 2 move could start tomorrow? Because it's been a while since we had a phase 2 move. I think we might be due for one soon. PS3 is becoming more collectible by the month, by the year, by the day, by the week. One other thing, I've even had some of my own viewers, my 69 IQ viewers, the intelligent ones, the ones that are only half retarded. They're not fully retarded. They didn't go full retard. They didn't make that mistake.
Never go full retard.
I've had some subscribers tell me that this very game they highly recommend. So it's not just me talking. And I have some very intelligent, half-retarded subscribers. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. I also want to give a shout-out and thanks to all my Patreon supporters. Your support means a lot. Your support keeps the channel going. Anybody else that wants to help support the channel, keep the channel going, leave a comment below. It helps with the algorithm, helps get the word out. And I'm also open to ideas. So if you want to see certain games or certain videos in the future, write those in the comments. I take note of everything, constructive feedback, everything. I am probably going to make a Nintendo Switch video again next week. It's been a while for all you Nintendo Switch fans out there. I do retro gaming and Nintendo Switch content on this channel.
Grip that Wii remote, stand so steady. Super swing golf too, yeah, I'm ready. Hidden gem status, collector stay wise. Prices swinging up, watch them rise.
We in my hand, no ordinary play. Tee off smooth, send the ball away. Course so crisp like a fresh spring breeze. Hole in one vibes, put my mind at ease. Swing it, slice it, aiming for the pin. Super swing golf.